The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
It's coming.
All these voices. All these voices.
They're mine. They're not yours. You had no right to them when you were alive, and you have no right to them when you're dead. That's what it sounded like. Good, so you know who I am. And then you know I'm not playing. You're going to let those women go. In Jesus' name, you're going to let those women go.
Is there a demon here watching us right now? Watching us right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody tonight?
Tonight's show is going to be interesting, controversial, and very, very informative, and possibly even life-changing for some people. Tonight we're going to be talking about cancer, and more importantly about the cure for cancer. Now that's not just hyperbole. Yes, that is a massive statement. But I want to talk to you tonight about some very, very interesting studies that have been done. And these studies are not new. They've been done a while ago. Quite a while ago, actually. But for whatever reason, they just never pursued it any further. But I want to talk about those studies a little bit. I want to talk about some other things that have shown a lot of promise in eradicating cancer forever. So it's going to be a multifaceted approach here that we're going to be talking about tonight. And also want to share a story that was shared with me by an oncologist. All right, so let's start off. Before we get started, I'm not a doctor. This is what I got to say legally, okay? This is the legal notice here. Not a doctor. So what I'm offering you tonight is not medical advice. I'm going to talk to you about some studies that were done. We're going to discuss what that means. And I'm going to tell you about some different things that are being done by different scientists and different oncologists around the world. And as always, talk to your doctor before you do anything. Don't just start taking random stuff. You know, always talk to your own personal doctor and make sure that it's something that's going to be right for you, that doesn't interact with any of your medications, all that kind of stuff, okay? So this is not a recommendation from me to you to do anything I say tonight. Okay, legally, that's covered. Now, the drug I want to talk about first is one that has a very, very bad name. But it's an amazing, amazing drug. It was given a bad name during the pandemic by a bunch of idiots who lied to us about everything, okay? That drug is ivermectin. Now, they lied to you and said that ivermectin is a horse dewormer, that it was dangerous, toxic to human beings. Not true at all. Ivermectin is used in animals by vets as a dewormer. That is 100% true. It was originally first developed for use in humans. Okay, it won the Nobel Prize for its use in humans. It's used to treat all kinds of stuff. It's an anti-parasitic drug. So it attacks and destroys parasites. It's used to treat malaria. It's used to treat lice. It's used to treat scabies. A whole bunch of stuff, okay? It's not just something that they brought up and said, hey, let's use this for the pandemic. You know, this is an established drug. It's been around for decades and decades and decades. It's totally safe. There's people that have been on it for a long, long time and have absolutely no bad side effects, no danger at all to them. It's not a drug that you're going to take and it's going to poison you or anything like that, okay? It's completely safe. Now, this drug has been found to kill cancer. Okay, this is, like I said before, not hyperbole. This is not something I'm making up. This isn't a conspiracy theory. You can look this up yourself. There was several studies done on the drug ivermectin and its effect on cancer cells. Now, what's amazing is this thing kills cancer cells. Now, some people say it's because cancer is caused by parasites. Okay, I'm not going that far. I'm not saying that cancer is caused by parasites, because when they took cancer cells out of the body and they put them in a petri dish and they administered ivermectin to the cancer cells, no parasites, no worms, no nothing present, right? Just the cancer cells. It killed the cancer cells. Okay, it's been used to treat people that have cancer. They've used it on its own, and they've used it in conjunction with radiation and chemotherapy. Okay, it works. It works really, really well. Basically, now I can get into a bunch of really big words that a lot of you people won't understand. Okay, when I'm talking about this, I don't want to do that. I'm going to try to break this down and make it understandable for everybody. Now, there'll be a lot of you listening who will absolutely understand those big words, okay? But there'll be some that won't. So for the sake of the ones that won't, I'm not going to be using words like apophagy and all that kind of stuff, okay? I'm going to try to take this down to a level that everybody can get, even if you don't have any background in science or medicine or anything like that, okay? So essentially what this drug does is it causes the cancer cells to destroy themselves. Okay, they kind of off themselves, so to speak, eat themselves, and it is an amazing thing because it's safe to healthy cells. It only affects the cancer cells, so you can literally be on this. You can take it orally. That's the easiest way to do it, and it's very cheap. It doesn't cost you much money at all to buy, but you can take it orally, and it will target the cancer cells in your body, and it will cause them to eat themselves and kill themselves. Okay, so that's the basic mechanism by which it works. Now, there's a lot more I can get into, a lot more technical stuff. Doesn't matter. Okay, it matters to science. It matters to the doctors. It doesn't really matter to you. What matters to you is that if you take this drug, it'll cause your cancer cells to destroy themselves. That's a big, big plus, okay? I want to tell you a story that was told to me by an oncologist. Well, technically, they're an oncology researcher, okay? They do treat patients, but they also are involved in the science of researching how to kill cancer, essentially. I'm not going to use people's names in this episode because I haven't really discussed sharing the story or anything like that. So there's going to be no names. I'm just going to give you the basic story without getting into the details so that everybody's privacy is protected. Okay? There was a gentleman who worked for the government here in D.C. And during the pandemic, he was forced to get the shot. If he did not get the shot, he would lose his job. He would lose his pension. All that stuff, okay? This was a guy that was, middle-aged guy, very, very healthy. He was a marathon runner, as a matter of fact. And no previous signs of cancer on any of his tests. He was completely healthy. So he got the shot in order to keep his job. And then a couple years later, out of nowhere, he ends up with prostate cancer. Okay, I'm not saying the two are connected. This is how the story was told to me. I'm telling it to you how it was told to me. A couple years later, out of the blue, he ends up with prostate cancer. And the thing that was weird, and the reason that it was brought up that way, because the oncologist was making a connection between the shot and the cancer, right? She wasn't saying that it was absolutely caused by, but it's just weird. He had absolutely no issues. His PSA was always normal. Everything was normal. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, his PSA is like in the hundreds instead of around, 2, 3 where it's supposed to be. So he goes in and gets checked out. Turns out he has prostate cancer. But not just prostate cancer, it's stage 4 prostate cancer. So pretty quickly, they're like, we got to get something done here. This is not good. So he follows the normal regimen that you're supposed to do. Okay. He goes and he does the He does the radiation. He does the chemo. He does all the treatments that they want him to do. Everything that the doctor recommended, he did. So fast forward to the end of that process. Okay, at the end of that process, he's basically bedridden, sick as hell. One of his legs is so bad and so swollen that he can't move around anymore. He's in constant pain, and it's just horrible. And basically, the doctors tell him, there's really nothing more we can do for you, bud. You're going to hospice, get a priest, get your shit together because you're checking out soon. That's the basic message the man gets. He asks his doctor, can I do some more radiation or some more chemo? The doctor says, no, can't do any more. We've done all we can. He said, well, are there any clinical trials, anything that I can do to try to, experimental that I can try that might help? No, nothing for you. It's all we got. You took everything we got. We got nothing more for you. Basically, you're going to die. Okay? So that's where he is. So a friend of his knows this oncologist that I was speaking of. And he asked her, can you just give this dude a call? And, he just needs somebody to talk to and to reassure him a little bit. We're not asking for a miracle here. Just talk to the man. Okay? So, she said, okay. And she called him. And she had multiple conversations with the guy. And he was getting worse and worse and worse. Like, literally, like every time they would speak, he would be much worse than he was the last time. And he didn't have much time left at all. And that oncologist had been reading the studies on ivermectin and cancer. And she said, I don't know if this is going to help you. I'm not saying this is a cure. I've been reading these studies, and they say that this drug ivermectin is helping people. So maybe it'll help you. It definitely won't hurt you. It's safe to take. It's not toxic at all, and it's one of the safest drugs on the market. So it's not going to hurt you at all. Why don't you give it a shot and see what happens? So the guy agrees that he'll do that. So he has someone drive him to Tennessee, because in Tennessee you can buy ivermectin without a prescription. And if you try in your state to get ivermectin for something other than what it's supposed to be used for, most doctors will tell you no, they won't do it. So to avoid that, he just went on down to Tennessee and bought a bunch. And he started taking it. And he started, after the first week, he felt a little bit better. I mean, his leg was still swollen bad, and he was still in a lot of pain, and things were still rough. But he was feeling a little bit better, After the second week, a little bit better. Third week, a little bit better. As time goes on, he's getting better and better. The swelling in his leg is decreasing. His pain levels are decreasing. His mobility is increasing. He's doing better. So he has a follow-up appointment that comes up after, I think she said 6 months, but I could be wrong. I think it was a 6 month. Either way, the doctor didn't expect that he was actually going to make it to the follow-up appointment, his original doctors. But he shows up walking and goes to the appointment. And so they do testing on him again. They do blood tests and everything to get his PSA again. And his PSA went from well over 100 back down to 1.4. I believe it's 1.2 or 1.4. One of those two numbers is right. But the important thing is it was under 2. And if you have a PSA of 4 or under, that's considered normal. So he had went from stage 4 prostate cancer all the way back down to a normal rating of the PSA. So they basically said, man, you're kind of in remission here. This is amazing. And the cancer, before they had told him there was nothing really left they could do when they was doing his radiation, his chemo and everything, the cancer had spread to his bones and everything. So they were scanning him and trying to figure out what was going on, and the majority of the spots on his bones were gone as well. So, they said, well, I don't know what you're doing, but it appears like you're going into remission, so whatever it is, keep it up. So he keeps on living his life and keeps on taking the ivermectin, and now he's going to like sporting events and going dancing and all kinds of stuff again. And he comes back for his next follow-up checkup like appointment, and pretty much everything's gone. I mean, he still has cancer, I guess officially, but he has no physical effects from it, and all of his numbers are normal. They can't see any spots anymore on his bones. His PSA is normal. He's in no pain. The swelling in his leg is completely gone, and he's running around living his life like a normal human being, having the time of his life. So that's a story that was told to me by a cancer researcher. And she believes that his taking that ivermectin is what made all the difference in the world and what changed things. And that kind of lines up with the facts, because his doctors had told him there was nothing more we could do. He had tried everything. He'd done all of the procedures, all the treatments, everything that they wanted to do. And he was dying. They literally sent him home to die with hospice and said, get your affairs in order. And he went from that to a normal life with normal numbers and no ill effects. So that's the power of what I'm talking about here tonight. Now, is that pure 100% scientific proof? No. But they have that proof in the studies. And you can, like I said, go look them up. You can read them for yourself. They're publicly available. Really, really interesting. Now, the scary thing and the sad thing is this has been known for a while. It's not like this is some new study that just happened. This has been out there. And nobody did anything with it. You would think something this powerful and something this amazing, it would change cancer treatments worldwide. It's getting to the point now where more and more oncologists are prescribing it to go along with radiation and chemo. But it's obvious to me that you don't even need to do the radiation and chemo if you take it, because this guy had stopped doing radiation and chemo already, and the radiation and chemo didn't help. It didn't work. It was only once he started taking the ivermectin that the cancer decreased and eventually pretty much went away. That's pretty amazing. So that's some amazing good news. So if you're a person that's dealing with cancer, what do you got to lose, really, is what I say. Once again, not medical advice. You do whatever you want. I'm not telling you what to do, but if I was in that situation, I'm doing it. I'm going to take it, because it ain't going to hurt me to take it. You know what I mean? It's safe. It's got a long, long track record, like 60 years plus of being safe, of not having anybody dying from it or anything like that, really. So why not? Give it a shot. See what happens. That's the way I look at it. But that's one part of it, okay? Now I want to talk about some other interesting things that are being done in the field of cancer research to try to work on curing cancer. They've managed to kind of figure out what fuels cancer cells. See, cancer cells need a ton of oxygen because they need to reproduce super quick. They have a lot of trouble surviving in an alkaline environment. That's why things like lemon juice, stuff like that causes your pH to be more alkaline, can really help with cancer. So, like one thing I do is I have hot tea, okay? And the tea I drink, I have like a dandelion burdock root tea, and then I have a ginger turmeric tea. And I put both of those in at the same time in my water, and I use lemon juice with it. The lemon juice makes it alkaline. The dandelion and burdock root, they're using dandelion in cancer research now, giving huge doses of it, and they're having some really promising results. But one thing dandelion definitely does is detoxifies your liver and your kidneys, and it can really change the state of your liver. You can take a liver that is suffering from like fatty liver disease and almost dead, and dandelion will literally turn that around, which is pretty amazing. And the turmeric does a ton of different things too. I mean, it helps with inflammation, it helps with oxygen absorption, all that kind of stuff. And one thing with your turmeric, if you take a little bit of black pepper with your turmeric, the black pepper will double the length of time that the turmeric stays active in your body, which is pretty cool. So that's one thing I do on a daily basis. I have that tea every day. Okay. That's a great, amazing thing. Another thing that they've learned about cancer, like I was saying, was what fuels it, what it eats. Okay. Cancer feeds on glucose. Cancer needs sugar, glucose, in order to reproduce quickly and to stay alive. So if you completely eliminate sugar from your diet in all forms, you can literally starve those cancer cells to death and they'll start to die. Okay, now when we're talking sugar, we're just not talking table sugar. We're talking sugar, we're talking syrup, we're talking honey, we're talking anything that turns into glucose in the blood, such as carbs. Any kind of carb will turn into glucose before it's broken down and used by the body. So if you eliminate all of that, you eliminate sugars, you eliminate carbs from your diet, then you will literally starve the cancer cells and they will die off. Okay, that's another thing that's being studied in the research that is showing very, very promising results. Now, there are diets out there that do just that. Keto to some measure does. Keto has a little bit of carbs in it. So if you want to cut every carb out of your diet to really supercharge that process of the cancer cells dying off, then you might want to go a little harsher than keto. Carnivore, which I do, is a good choice for cutting out all of the carbs in your diet. But carnivore is a difficult diet to do in the beginning because I was talking about on We're Screwed. It definitely has some effects on the body because your body has to transition from burning carbs, right, glucose, for energy into burning fat for energy. And so you have to eat a lot of fat on a carnivore diet. And your body will go into a state of ketosis where it's literally eating fat in order to convert that into energy. And it's really good for you. I mean, there's so many benefits health-wise. I mean, what you hear is the heart issue thing, but there's a lot of research on that as well that shows that what's actually giving people a lot of heart attacks and stuff like that is not cholesterol. It's not any of that stuff that they thought it was before. It's mainly the sugar and the processed food, all the chemical shit we're putting in our body that's causing a lot of these cancers and causing a lot of these heart problems and strokes and stuff like that. Whereas if you eat an animal-based diet where you're eating just meat and eggs and dairy products, dairy products you got to be careful with because they'll give you gas and stuff like that. And some people are lactose intolerant and they are more calorie dense. So you can put on some weight eating a lot of dairy. But if you're eating, meat and eggs, then, and some cheese here and there, you're good to go. Your body gets all the vitamins and everything it needs to survive. There's nothing that you need that you can't get on a carnivore diet. But what you don't get is all the sugar, and what you don't get is all of the carbs, which turn into sugar in your blood. They turn into glucose. And that's what cancer cells feed on. So by eliminating those, what you're doing is taking away the ability of the cancer cell to reproduce, to multiply, to divide into other cells. And that's how cancer kills you. It just keeps on multiplying and dividing and multiplying and dividing until it just gets to the point where your system fails. So you gotta stop that. You can do that by taking away the oxygen, making the proper pH, which is an alkaline pH. That makes it very hard for it to survive, and by cutting off its food supply and glucose. And then if on top of those things you do ivermectin like these studies are showing, I mean, to me, that there ain't no way that stuff's surviving all that. But once again, just I'm just reporting to you the studies. I'm reporting to you what the evidence is. You make up your own decision. Talk to your doctor, but be informed when you talk to your doctor. Because here's the problem. I talk to my doctor, right? I go in every year and I get a full workup, all the scans, all the testing, all the stuff, right? And a couple years ago, I went in and my cholesterol numbers were through the roof, and my numbers just weren't good. And my doctor was like, "Oh man, you're gonna have a heart attack." He said, "Your numbers are horrible, and you're definitely headed for a widowmaker. You need to change your diet and change all this stuff." And I said, "Okay," because he wanted to put me on statins, and I didn't want no part of that because that has a lot of bad side effects I don't want to do. So I said, "Okay, I'll try to change my diet, and everything." So the diet that was recommended was a plant-based vegan diet. That's supposed to be the diet to get on if you're having heart issues. It's supposed to save your life. Well, the first couple weeks that I was on this diet, I felt amazing. But that was because I was getting off the standard American diet of junk, processed foods and sugary cakes and candy and some crap like that, cookies. And I was going to a whole food diet without all the processed foods, without all the preservatives, without all that stuff. So I felt good at first. But as time went on, and I did this diet for a solid year without failing, right? I didn't cheat at all. I stuck religiously to this diet. And I found a couple months in, I wasn't feeling good anymore. I was weak. I just didn't have strength. A lot of people say, "Well, you just weren't doing it right." Well, I have means. I'm not a poor person. Okay, I have the ability to buy anything I need to buy to do the diet properly. And I had a giant assortment of everything that I was supposed to get. I had, beans and lentils and all that stuff for protein. I had everything I was supposed to have. I was taking supplements on top of everything. I was doing smoothies with extra protein powder and everything in it. I was doing what I was supposed to do to get what I needed from that diet, and it wasn't enough. I just didn't feel good. And as time went on, I started getting sicker and sicker and sicker as I went. Turns out that's because the bioavailability of the nutrients in plant food is nowhere near the bioavailability of nutrients in meat. So in plant food, you're only getting like 10, 20% of the nutrients. The rest of it's going right down that toilet. You're wasting it. Your body can't use it. So it just wraps with that fiber and passes right through you. But in meat, it's like 80% bioavailable. So you can get the majority of the nutrients from the meat, and it has everything you need. So essentially what was happening, I was becoming malnourished. I was starving to death, even though I was eating all day, every day. I mean, literally, I ate from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed almost. And I was eating healthy. I was eating fruits and vegetables. I wasn't like eating a bunch of pastas. I wasn't eating a bunch of crap I shouldn't have been eating. I was eating fruits and vegetables and beans and nuts and seeds. So I was eating exactly what I was supposed to be eating. But I could never get enough to satisfy my body. I mean, I'd get full, but it was never enough to give me what I needed to stay healthy. My skin started breaking. I'd never had acne or blemishes or any of that stuff before. And my skin started breaking out because of it. I started just feeling so tired all the time and so weak, like I couldn't do the things I needed to do. And it got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. So I lasted a year. I went back. My cholesterol was way down again, all that kind of stuff. Doctor was happy. But I was like, I can't do this anymore, man. It's killing me. And then I find out from the American Heart Association that they don't even believe anymore that dietary cholesterol is much of a factor in heart attacks. So it's like all of that was for nothing. I damn near died trying to be healthy, which is crazy. And now I'm back doing carnivore, I didn't go back to my standard American diet where I was eating a bunch of crap. I'm doing carnivore where I'm eating meat and eggs and dairy some, and I feel great. I feel amazing again. I'm strong as a freaking ox. I have tons of energy. You know what I mean? I don't have zits and shit anymore. My skin cleared up. I grew my beard out again, full this time, not all patchy like it was when I was a vegan. You know what I mean? It was just not a good experience. So basically what I'm telling you here tonight is if this is pursued by more and more oncologists, which it's starting to be, and now with Robert Kennedy Jr., if he gets confirmed as Secretary of Health and Human Services, that whole MAHA movement of Make America Healthy Again, this is something that they've talked about, which I was very happy and excited to hear when they talked about this, because I've known about these studies, and I'm so happy that a lot of people are finding out about this stuff. And as this becomes more mainstream and becomes more acceptable, more and more oncologists will do this, and more people will be saved. And essentially, what's going to happen is cancer is going to be a thing in the past. I'm not saying people won't still get cancer some, but it will be able to be healed when you get it. You're not going to have to die from it anymore, which is amazing. That's my prayer. And with that being said, I'm going to throw over to Old Boy and see what his opinion is on all this. He actually worked in the medical field, believe it or not. So his opinion is a valuable one. I was a scientist, but I wasn't a medical scientist or a medical researcher. But I just understand science, and I understand how studies work, and I know how to read. You know what I mean? So I can read studies, and I can understand them and know what's going on with them. So, like I said, I'll throw it to Old Boy and get his opinion. Go ahead, brother.
I was a dialysis technician when I was in my early teens and 20s. I was a reuse technician, so that's kidney dialysis, so I do know a little bit about it. I'm not a doctor or anything, but you have to do certain things when you do licenses and tests and CPR. I have my CPR card all together, but I had to do all that stuff. And I went to school for 9 months, and I took a state exam and passed with an A minus. And I didn't even study, and I got a 92%. And my mom was pissed off because she studied and got a 93. So that should tell you something. And I really didn't study, but I still got an A on my test. So, but back to what I was saying is, I'm a living proof. You don't, and just so you know, sugar is impossible. You're still going to have a little bit of it. It's almost impossible to get all of it, but you can cut it down very rare, like I have. I hardly eat any sugar. I eat a little bit because, this is going to have some stuff in it, but I try to stay away from a lot of sugar and salt, because salt's not the best for you either, because it just raises your blood pressure. But I'm living proof that you can. What is it going to be? Almost 5.5 years since they told me I was going to die. And I've lost like 60 pounds. And I've been told, how did I do it? Because my blood sugar's normal. When I was diabetic and my blood sugar was almost 9.8 or something like that. And my sugar was like 390. So, and now it's like 90 and 5, maybe 5.1. They trip out how I did that. And it's because I didn't listen to them. They fucking lie. They want you to spend a whole shitload of money, so you continuously skip stuff that doesn't fix the problem. You get addicted to pills. You get addicted to what they, getting rid of the pain instead of really what's fixing it. And it's really destroying your body. Metformin causes cancer and kidney failure. Go look it up. It's one of the most dangerous drugs they can give you. So, and that's why I didn't take it. And I'm doing fine, almost 6 years. Or I would be dead, wouldn't I? Because they said I would be dead in a year. Well, no. Told me when I was on thyroid medicine I'd be dead if I didn't take it. 30 years later, I'm still here. So I kind of proved that wrong, didn't I? I'm not saying don't ever go to a doctor, because there is some people know what they're doing out there. It's just, you got to remember with the pharmaceuticals, they have the power play of getting you to buy drugs, and they don't want you to get better because they'll never make any money. And I've heard so much stuff about the horse tranquilizer or the dewormer, it helped people, and then I've heard that's not true. Then I heard Rogan said he did it and it worked. So I think you should do anything to save your life. If you're dying, who gives a fuck what happens? What do you have to lose? You might die in a couple days instead of rotting in a year and getting yourself in debt. And radiation, even if you survive from radiation, you're going to die in 8 years, 9 years. I know people who've did radiation, got past cancer, and they still wish they never did, because they just don't ever feel the same. It's radiation, guys. It kills you. It doesn't matter what they do. They're just saving you for about 7, 8 years, and then you're going to go back in debt again because you're going to get sick again. I think if you could find any alternative, and don't listen to them when they say they don't, because European has a lot of difference of opinions than they do here in America. In America, they don't want to, like I said, they could care less because they can just keep making money off of people, and they do. They're the biggest crooks I've ever seen, especially hospitals. They don't care, man. When I was sick, dying, hey, how much your insurance pay? How are you going to ask somebody that? Right off the bat is how much you're going to pay. Maybe after I'm done and you take my insurance, that's all you need to know. But this only pays this, that pays that. We need to get this. And I'm like, I'm in the fucking hospital right now. I'll pay you. It's like a big scheme, dude. They have somebody sitting there telling you how much this shit's going to cost now. That should tell you everything. It's a scheme, because now they have to tell you up front how much shit's going to cost. So what they'll do is they'll go, oh, well, you seem like this, so we'll give you a test, and then they'll give you a drug test where they charge your insurance $300-$400 because your deductible's high. They'll take advantage of it. But if you have a deductible of $500, they're not. They're going to say, oh, shit, well, they'll give you the cheapest stuff so they can make some money off, because after $500, you're not going to pay much, unless if it's surgery or something. That's how they work. That's just their game. They make money off of people. They screw people. And they've been doing it for years. And I know somebody's going to listen to that. Yes, I'm not, like I said, again, don't believe everything you hear. And I will say that there is some people who are just saying shit so they can, the shot did this and that. I'm going to be honest with you. I had COVID twice. I've had the shots twice. 4 years ago, and nothing's wrong with my body. So I will tell you this: no drug, no shot's going to be perfect. It is what it is. It was something new. They just had to get it done. And I'll be honest: if I didn't have the shot, I'd be dead. And that's where that's where I'm going to argue people, because I would have been dead. I know what I almost died even with it, so it didn't matter. And then when I took the second shot, I never got it again. So I'm not saying advocating people should do it, but I did it, and I'm not dead. My wife took it; she's not dead, and it's been 4 years. We've been checked out. We have nothing wrong with ourselves. You know what? There's people who have underlying issues with everything. Everything you ever see, any medicine you see, anything they make now. Did you ever watch the commercials? Well, if you take this, will be, but. Just remember, you have underlying bleeding. If you get cancer, you got gallstones. It has you 500 fucking things you're going to get else by taking the medicine, so it's fucking pointless. You're always going to have some kind of side effect with whatever they make. There's antibiotics they give you that are so strong that it'll even if it saves you, your limbs are going to die. And I've seen it. But they rather could care less about your legs and limbs, because you could still live a healthy life. I don't know who would want to live without their legs and limbs. That's kind of, I get it. They have stuff now, and stuff's getting so advanced, robotics, that it's almost better to have that sometimes. Like some of the new legs, man, they're almost as good as having a leg now. They're saying with how robotics are coming. eventually they'll be able to just get cadavers and just retach your arms and legs. They're starting to do that now altogether. We're doing that with all kinds of body parts now. I really don't understand why that hasn't been a thing for the last 20 years and 30 years, why it's only just started, because they've been practicing in other countries that for some reason here they don't agree with it. My personal opinion is, if you have cadavers, why not try? I mean, it's probably going to be hard, but they're already done it a couple times. But it's so expensive, they don't want to spend the money on it. So they just rather you have no arms and you put a sorry guys, my throat's getting a little dry there, but they rather have you have a fake arm, and they think you're going to live all right with that. You could live, but my personal opinion, if I lost all my limbs, bro, I don't know if I would I wouldn't feel like a man again. And I'm not making fun of anybody saying they're less of a person. That's just how I feel. So I don't want people, oh yeah, he's saying it. No, I not at all. If you're better, that's better to you than me. That's all I'm saying. I couldn't do it. Unless robotic arms comes to the point where they're stronger than regular arms, and then that shit wouldn't really bother me then, dude. I could run around and do what I want then. It wouldn't really matter. Actually, it'd be an upgrade. Imagine hitting something. No one would ever mess with you because you could kill them with one punch. So, I mean, there would be cool. That would be cool, but I couldn't do it. A lot of those people are very strong by doing that, who have amputees, and not saying like one arm. I'm talking about like if you lost everything, like legs and arms, it would suck, man. I just don't think I could handle it. I know how I am, and that wouldn't be me. That's me, though. That doesn't mean anybody else. I'm just saying myself, and that's the way I feel. Not trying to offend anybody by saying that, but I just couldn't do it. I feel that that's just my life. I'm a kind of person who likes to walk around and do things and move and lift weights and stuff like that and play video games. I just couldn't. I don't know how I would be able to manage. That's me. That's my own thing. But that being said, I don't listen to a lot of things they say. I believe that because they said starving cancer, you can heal your body. If you starve cancer, it dies. It's a proven fact. But if you have money, you also can get stuff that you don't get the regular market. If you're millions and millions of dollars, you can get whatever you want. Just proven fact. Look at Magic Johnson. He no longer has HIV. He's in remission for 30-something years now? 35. So that should tell you how much money. And not only that, now the medicine he had, it's out now. And it's very expensive. But they can put you at now HIV now. They can, even if you have mild AIDS, they can put you in remission now with AIDS. Even with hepatitis C, they have that shot now that you'll die instead of 20 years, you'll probably die in about 40 years now. So by then, who cares? But they're starting to. Cancer is going to probably be the thing of the past because they pretty much can cure it now. Japan, they're going to probably be able to cure diabetes soon. And then heart disease will be a thing of the past. Give it about 100, 200 years. The only thing we'll have to worry about is diseases. That's the only thing we'll probably be worrying about. You'll still have cancers, but you won't be passing away like they have before. They won't have the heart surgeries. They're going to make heart surgeries are not going to be what they are. Where it's endless. Where you get your body cut open and stuff. They'll be able to do different things now. They're showing it how they do heart surgery. It's actually easier than it was before. Eventually, it'll be just like a minor surgery. They won't even cut you open. A lot of things will be changed in the next 100 years. Especially when they finally admit aliens exist and they give us their technology to keep us alive. I think that would be very neat. I think we change a lot of things if we can find out other ways of curing things. I know that one of the genes that can make us live forever dies out. I know that can grow our limbs and stuff back. if we can fix those genes, man, we could live a long time, and if we lose an arm, we can grow it back, or a leg or something, that would be cool. Even a kidney or something. Just imagine, just as a theory, if your kidneys can grow back, even if they died, a liver, a lung, they can grow back. Imagine that. That would be great. There's so much stuff we could be doing instead of what we're doing now that we could get done, and I don't get it. I think people really take granted of life. I don't care what you believe in. It's just that there's so much better things that we can be doing and what we do. And like I said, we're in a giant ocean with a little pebble, because that's what the universe is. Universes, solar systems, we could be doing that. I would rather be in space, and I've said this with James before, and figuring out how to save people with cancers and save a world with hunger, and just to get to see outside and look at the stars and the moons and the planets. That would be something that it's just breathtaking, and that's something that I know James wants to see, and I would love to see. That's him being a scientist, and he loves space, and so do I. And something that no one ever will. You'll never probably ever see. There's only a handful of certain people have got to see that, see moon and space and real. I'm talking about when you go up there in a spaceship or something, or spacecraft. I wouldn't say ship, space shuttles. That's something that only a handful of people are going to ever really see, and that's amazing. I wish that we could actually do that, and we could figure out all kinds of ways to helping people, like cough and cold. We need to get where we can cure that in like a day or two, instead of having 2 weeks chance of getting pneumonia and bronchitis and stuff like that. We could really fix stuff like Starfield. Like you take a shot or something and you get better. You get frostbite, you take a shot and it makes you better. You get sick, you take a breathing, like this little thing, and if you play the game, you guys collect stuff to heal. The game was awesome, except when you run out of breath. It's the stupidest shit that it pisses me off. And I know that pisses James off. You can't fucking run or shit. If you're all out of breath, unless you go all the way out and you level up where you can do it, but it takes a long ass time, and it's a pain in the ass. That's one of the things I hate about Starfield, is when you run out of oxygen and you had to stop, and some fucker's chasing after you, and if you stop, you're fucked. That's why it used to piss me off. And now they got vehicles and stuff, but if you guys play the game, you'll understand it has a lot to do with medical. There's a lot of medical science in the game, and you got to keep yourself. You got to eat. You got to feed yourself. You got to keep yourself from getting cold. You got to keep yourself from getting hot. Blood cuts. You have to bandage yourself. So you have to be somewhat of a medic. And you got to help your people that you have with you. You got to make sure they're all right. You got to feed them. And it's just a game. You have a lot of upkeep, and that's a lot of people don't want to deal with it. Like people like James, he's fine with it. He thinks it's like real life. He doesn't bother him. But with me, it pisses me off when I have to fucking eat an apple or something. And I'm like, it's just bullshit, dude. There's some things they put in these games that it pisses me off, dude. Like that game especially, but. And we're talking about, I'm making it a little bit of sci-fi because, they're just talking about cancer and stuff. Nope. There's going to be some kind of a sci-fi in it. We're talking about space because it matters, medical stuff and stuff like that. And it's a part of the game. So, I mean, we give you a little bit of a sci-fi twist to it. But it's some of those games just piss me off. But you got to be like a medic. You got to make sure you don't get bit by something. They have these flying bastards that bite you, and you get poison and toxic. You have to make yourself feel better. You could take a nap. You could sleep. Everything you do in real life, you're doing the same thing. Just pisses me off when you run and you got to run out of breath and you got to and then there's dickheads chasing after you and they kick your ass. But it's always fun, it's a fun game. And if you guys could ever check it out, it's on the Xbox. You guys have the Xbox, you can play Starfield. Or the computer, Steam or whatever. Check it out. Some people like it, some people don't because because it didn't go on PlayStation. They're all pissed off, but they'll get over it. But that being said, I don't have a problem with people taking certain things. It doesn't matter what they say, because they'll say, "Oh, it's going to hurt you." They told me not to take cinnamon, and I've been taking it for almost 6 years, and cinnamon really changed my blood. It kept my blood. It really does keep your sugar down, and it worked for me. And I take cinnamon supplements every day, just so people know that that's something I take, and I take vitamin C. And I rarely got sick. Like this last cold it got me. I think I might have even had COVID, but I don't know. It was just, it was a fucked up cold, but I got over it. But that being said, that's all I got to say, brother.
Your body wants to heal itself. And it's really, really good at it. If you want to get to a point where you're not getting sick and all of that, what you do is you make sure that your immune system is in good shape. You do that through like vitamin C, vitamin D, those kind of things. You do that by eating the proper foods, staying away from all the sugar, staying away from all the processed food with a bunch of chemicals you can't pronounce. If you eat a proper human diet and not this science experiment that they call food, your body will be in good condition. If you're getting what you need, you give your body the fuel that it needs, it can heal itself. It's just a matter of not putting those toxins in your body anymore, And I think that's the problem. That's the reason why America is the sickest country in the planet. It's because our food is toxic. A lot of stuff we eat is banned in the rest of the world. Literally banned. The chemicals that they use, the different dyes, the different preservatives, those kind of things. Some of that stuff is not allowed in other countries because they've seen the studies and they know that it's toxic. Here in America, we have the FDA. But the FDA doesn't do anything. They rubber stamp stuff. And I know that from people at the FDA who've actually said it. You know who does the studies on all of this food additives and the chemicals and all that stuff? Do you know who does the studies on the different drugs and stuff like that to get FDA approval? The majority of the time, it's the people who are actually making the product, who are doing their own studies. They fund their own studies. The FDA doesn't do it. The FDA doesn't have the funding to do it, nor the people. So the FDA will look at the studies done by the pharmaceutical company or by the food company that says it's safe and say, okay, the study says it's safe. But if a pharmaceutical company wants to put something out, then they'll pay for a study that'll say exactly what they want it to say. It's not good science. It's not replicable. It's not peer reviewed most of the time. It hasn't been repeated over and over and over and over again. It's a study that was slanted and twisted in the way it's set up to get a result that they wanted. And if it doesn't get the result they want, you never hear about the study. It never gets published. But if it gets the result they want because they've slanted it that way, then they'll say, oh, look, we did this study and look what it says. So then the FDA says, oh, well, cool, here, there's your stamp. Give us our money. That's basically how it works in this country. And it's scary. It really is. So the effect of that is we're being poisoned for profit. That's the truth. And it shouldn't be. If you look back, just go back to our grandparents' time. How many people were giant lard asses back then? How many times did you look down the street and see big fat bastards walking around? Never, almost. If there was a big old fatty, they were an oddity. That's the kind of thing you'd see in a freak show, man. It wasn't like normal life. It just didn't really happen that often. You had a few, but it wasn't like today. Children looked like children back then. You didn't have little girls before they were even teenagers wearing adult bras because they're that developed already. Back in that time period, you had less than 10% of pediatric diabetes cases, way less. Somebody who was a pediatrician might only see 1 or 2 diabetic children in their entire career. Now it's literally like 60% of cases that pediatricians see are diabetic children. You can't tell me that it's normal. You can't tell me that the food isn't killing you. Look what it's doing to your children. Look what it's doing to you. And believe me, I'm not on a high horse here, man. I almost died. And I went through all kinds of stuff to figure all this out. I experimented on myself. I tried these different diets. And I approached it like a scientist doing an experiment. So I was very strict. And you can't trust them. That's the problem. You can't trust the people that are supposed to tell you what's good for you, because what they tell you is not true. And that's scary. But it's true. So what I would say is get behind the people that are trying to tell you the actual truth. Whenever you see all of the powerful people, right? The media, the government, all these powerful people telling you not to do something and something's bad for you, all that, right? When they're totally against something like that, they're all in lockstep, the media and everything, that ought to give you pause. You ought to say, wait a minute. Why do all of these people that have lied to me over and over and over again, why are they all telling me this? What's the likelihood that what they're telling me is actually true? I mean, you can go and read the studies for yourself and see what they say. You can go and look at the case studies of actual patients that have done it and had success. This isn't an episode where I want to be bitching about the government. This isn't an episode where I'm like telling you the elites are trying to kill you, even though they kind of are. This is an episode that hopefully will bring you hope. And hopefully will bring you the realization that not only are we this close to eradicating cancer completely, but in all reality, we already have, kind of. Because the science is already there. We've already figured it out. And it's available. You can go get it. It just hasn't been widely accepted yet. And I don't know how long that process takes. I don't know how long it takes until, Joe Public or Sally Public says, yeah, this is what we're supposed to do. Because we may never get there, because most people don't think for themselves. They just do whatever they're told. And I'm not telling you buck the system. I'm not telling you anything. You do what you want. But I'm saying, I think it's amazing what this drug can do. And this drug is safe. There's a lot of people who said a lot of stupid shit during the pandemic about ivermectin that wasn't true. Just use your logical brain for a second. Does a drug that's toxic to you and will kill you if you take it, does a drug like that win the Nobel Prize? No. Do doctors prescribe a drug like that to save your life when you have malaria? If it's toxic and would kill you? Would they prescribe that for scabies or lice to children if it's toxic and would kill you? No. So you got to stop listening to politicians. You got to stop listening to the media telling you this, that, and the other thing because they're trying to drive a narrative because they're full of shit. You got to start listening to the actual scientists who are telling you this is working and the actual studies that prove it. Because if we're ever going to beat cancer and a lot of these diseases, you're going to come to the realization pretty quick that a lot of it has to do with prevention in the first place. The best way to not get cancer and to not have heart attacks and not have all of these problems, diabetes, all that kind of stuff, is to be healthy, to eat a proper human diet, to exercise, to get plenty of vitamin D. I mean, if your vitamin D levels are low, then your immune system is shit, which means you're going to get sick. That's just the way it is. If your immune system is working and it's functioning properly and it's strong, you're not going to get sick very often. You're not going to have to worry about all this stuff because your body's going to heal itself. It's going to protect itself. And an old boy earlier was talking about we'll get to a point where our organs can regrow and all that kind of stuff. Hell, our liver can. I was talking earlier about the dandelion supplements and how they can literally take a dying liver that's in the late stages of fatty liver disease and turn it around and make it healthy. I mean, when you get a liver transplant, they just take a little piece of your liver and give it to somebody else, and from that little piece, an entire liver grows. It's pretty amazing. Now, we're not at the point yet where our other organs do that, or our limbs or anything like that, but wouldn't that be a neat trick? You know, who knows what'll come in the future. But your liver is so important because your liver filters out toxins from your body. So do your kidneys. And it's no coincidence that things like dandelion and burdock root cleanse the liver and the kidneys and they heal them. I mean, you're literally detoxing your body. So if you avoid all the chemical crap, if you don't want to eat just meat and you want to eat fruits and vegetables too, that's fine. Just eat whole food. Look on the ingredients of what you're buying. If it has more than a couple of ingredients, don't buy it. If it has a bunch of stuff you can't pronounce on it, don't buy it. You want to be having things with one ingredient, maybe two. Meat, salt. You know, old boy talked about salt raising your blood pressure. If you're on carnivore, you got to eat a lot of salt. Because if you don't eat a lot of salt on carnivore, your kidneys are in bad shape. Because your body's so used to getting all that salt. And I don't understand exactly the connection why it works because I haven't studied it. But I know that if you don't have a bunch of salt, you're going to run into issues with your kidneys and everything like that on a carnivore diet. Because you're not getting the salt you would normally get from your food and all that kind of, because everything has salt in it. And if you're eating carnivore, you're pretty much just eating meat and eggs. You're not eating processed food anymore. So you're not getting all that stuff put into your body. So you need it. So if you are doing carnivore, if you're new to carnivore, you're just starting it, make sure you salt everything well. Don't make it so it's gross to you, but I mean, just, make sure you salt everything because you're going to need that salt. I mean, hell, a lot of people on carnivore will literally put salt in their water sometimes and drink it too. Because that's
what kind of salt? Because iodine salt's not good for you. Actually, if you eat like Himalaya salt, that's good for you. And sea salt, that's actually better. But a lot of iodine salt has iodine. There's a lot of iodine. That's why I'm saying like regular salt is. I'm talking about like you can eat a lot of sea salt, and you can eat a lot of what's the other one? Himalayan. That's what we use.
Yeah, I use Himalayan pink.
Yeah, then you're right. Then if you use that salt, but if you use regular plain salt, that turns into sugar. So that's why I was saying that iodine salt. I'm talking about regular salt, That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like Himalayan and sea salt. That's actually good for your body. But regular iodine salt, when people are pouring like, half a bottle, that's not good for you. That's what I was trying to say.
I don't know who could even eat it that way.
There's people who do. My
That's
dad
insane.
can eat a lot of salt. I can't do it.
I know if you don't have it and you're doing carnivore,
Yeah.
then you end up with a lot of issues with your kidney, and
Yeah.
you do not do well. You need it.
Yeah.
Now on a regular diet, you don't. On
Yeah.
a vegan diet, you don't, because you're getting
Matters what diet you're on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is right. If you eat a lot of on that carnivore, but make sure it's a certain salt too. If you're just sitting there doing regular salt, then yeah, you're asking. And not only that, it just tastes like shit. I'm sorry, but sea salt is really good, and I love Himalayan salt, especially the pink one or the black one. It just makes everything taste better. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just
it's all good. I'm wrapping up. I buy those big giant
Yeah.
things of the pink Himalayan salt.
Yeah.
And then grind it up. Yeah. So I'm going to throw it back over to old boy and let him give his final shout outs and all that stuff. And then we will wrap up because we are over an hour. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I kind of threw a little bit of the science in there and star, with a little bit of sci-fi in there. So now they can say, oh, yeah, a little bit. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show on Parax Radio every Sunday nights at 12 a.m. Eastern, 9 Pacific. The best of show Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. You can see us on Spotify. You can check us out on War Screwed. It's also on Spotify. And YouTube. If you want to subscribe, go to James Hirsch's YouTube page, subscribe. If you want to get merchandise, you can go to the Staring in the Abyss teespring.com, I think, or unless they've changed it again. It probably did. And you can get shirts. You can get No Face, the book I've made. I'm still fighting with the Amazon about the cover. And we got it on Kindle right now. You can get it $4.99, but right now you can't get the paperback enough because we've been fighting with them and with the stupid cover every other day. So I'm trying to get the cover fixed. But yes, you can get it on Kindle right now and check it out. I'm going to put it on audiobook soon. And I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble next because I'm doing this all myself. But just so you guys know, if you want to read my book, it's out on Kindle. But that being said, I hope everybody has a great night. Misfits, Shillelaghs, monster lovers, and demon hunters, I love you and have a good night.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody watching. I hope that you learned something tonight. And I hope that this is useful to you. I talked about ivermectin tonight. I talked about the tea that I drink every day, that I make. And the main things you need to know from that tea is I drink a detox tea that has dandelion root and burdock root in it. Okay, both of those are very, very good for the liver and the kidneys, and they really help to heal them so that you detoxify. Also in that tea, I have ginger, which is really good for nausea and stomach issues and stuff like that, and turmeric, which is good for a ton of different stuff in the body. Helps to fight inflammation, all that kind of stuff. It's really good for you. So if you're controlling inflammation and you're helping your liver and your kidneys, and you're providing the proper pH for your body through the lemon juice, which is also in there, makes it alkaline, there's not a lot of space there for cancer or pretty much any diseases or sicknesses to get a hold of you. You're creating an environment to where your body can heal itself and to function properly. I'm not at the point yet where I'm 100% normal again and back, because I did a lot of damage to my body with that vegan diet. So I'm still in the process of healing myself. But I'm a hell of a lot better than I was. And that's something that I do every day, is I drink that tea every single day. And it makes a tremendous difference in your immune system. It makes a tremendous difference in the way you process food and go to the bathroom and all that kind of stuff. Now, in the beginning, when you start doing this, keep in mind you are detoxing your body. So with detoxing your body is going to come certain effects, because when your body detoxes, it has to get rid of the toxins. Okay, you get rid of the toxins in a couple different ways. One is through sweating. Okay, so you'll get a bunch of sweat coming out of you. Your body purges toxins that way. The second way your body will purge toxins is it will cause um, zits, basically, is the best way to say it, like blemishes, where it's pushing that stuff out of the body. But once you get on the regimen, that stuff goes away because your body can eliminate it other ways. But if you're still in the vegan diet, you're going to notice you're getting a hell of a lot of acne all the time. Okay, that's because your body is desperately trying to shove all of those toxins and all those oxalates and all that bad stuff that you're getting from the plants out of your skin. They're trying to get rid of it. Okay, so you get that, you get skin tags, you get all that kind of stuff. That's your body trying to take all that junk and get rid of it. Okay, but that's another way your body will do it. You do it through urination, to where you will piss it out, and then you do it through fecal matter. Let's say it that way. That's a nice, polite way to say it. Okay, so you're going to be doing a lot of it in the beginning because you're getting rid of all those toxins. Once you detoxify your body, all that stuff normalizes. But you're going to be going to the bathroom a lot in the beginning. That's normal. Just make sure you stay well hydrated because your body's going to need that water to push all of those toxins out, because no matter how you're doing it, either it's through sweat, urination, or pooping, right? You need water for all three of those things. So anytime toxins are leaving your body, water is the bus that takes them on out. Okay? Think of it that way. Make sure you drink tons of water. They want you to drink like 8 glasses of water a day. I don't know if you can do that or not. You know what I mean? But drink as much water as you can, because you don't want to get dehydrated, because that's not good news for anybody. It's not good to get dehydrated. But when you start doing this, and once your body gets detoxified, you'll notice that you start feeling amazing again. You start feeling young again, a lot younger. I mean, I'm an old man. I got no business doing the stuff I do. I'm going all day long. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I'm out chopping trees. I'm out, planting orchards, working in the orchards, picking fruit, picking my vegetables, planting gardens, doing all kinds of stuff. I'm doing all of that and I still have energy. Now, I'm not doing it right now because it's winter. But I mean, like come spring, I'm rip roaring ready to go again. Get back to planting and stuff, We're not designed to be sick all the time. We are designed for our bodies to heal themselves. We've kind of went off the track as modern humans. We've stopped eating the food that our ancestors ate. And instead, we've kind of veered off into all of this science project food with stuff we can't pronounce and a bunch of chemicals. And I mean, our food recipes are developed in a lab instead of in a kitchen. And that's where we went wrong. Your body's not designed to be eating all that stuff. So if you give it the food it's supposed to eat, you can heal yourself and you can feel better again. And that's the main message I want to convey on this episode. It's not a message of anger. It's not a message of hate or paranoia about the government. None of that. It's a message of hope. I mean, God loves you. I say that every episode when I end this show. And he loves you so much, he gave you one hell of a perfect machine. All you got to do is put the right fuel in it. And it runs itself, and it heals itself, and it's amazing. But us being dumbass humans, we do what we always do. We think we know better, and we screw it up. We decide we're going to start tinkering with everything instead of just doing what we're told, and we make Franken food, and it almost kills us. You know what I mean? So my message tonight is one of hope and love, and I hope that all of you can take something from this, learn something from it, make some changes in your life, and be healthier and happier and live longer. Be there for your kids. You know what I mean? I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed the show. As always, up to you to make up your own mind, and we'll catch you on the next one. Till we speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.
In order for the light to shine so brightly, the darkness must be present. Tune in every Monday at 10 o'clock The dark sun rising on the Para-X Radio Network.
Hey, this is Lee.
And this is Michelle.
And this is Dustin from the Dead Zone.
Your source for everything paranormal. Para-X.